Hey there, you're looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. The house was quiet, save for the gentle hum of the dishwasher and the distant sounds of children playing outside. Baker stood in front of the bedroom mirror, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. His wife, Emma, had left for work hours ago, leaving him alone with his thoughts and a growing curiosity he could no longer ignore. With trembling hands, he reached for the closet door, sliding it open to reveal Emma's side of the wardrobe. His eyes lingered on her dresses, blouses, and skirts, each item seeming to call out to him in a way he'd never experienced before. Baker took a deep breath, steeling himself for what he was about to do. He selected a simple blue sundress, the fabric soft against his skin as he carefully removed it from its hanger. Baker had always admired how it looked on Emma, the way it hugged her curves and flowed gracefully around her legs. Now, standing in front of the mirror with the dress held up against his chest, he felt a strange sense of rightness. Just this once, he whispered to his reflection, as if seeking permission from some unseen authority. Just to see. Baker slipped off his t-shirt and jeans, letting them fall to the floor in a heap. He stepped into the dress, pulling it up over his hips and shoulders. His fingers fumbled with the zipper at the back, but he managed to close it most of the way. When he finally looked up at his reflection, his breath caught in his throat. The man staring back at him was transformed. The dress, despite not fitting perfectly, softened his angular features and gave him a silhouette he'd never seen on himself before. Baker turned slowly, watching the fabric swish around his legs. A smile tugged at the corners of his mouth, growing wider with each passing second. "I look pretty," he murmured, the words feeling foreign yet undeniably true. Emboldened by his reflection, Baker ventured further into Emma's closet. He found a pair of low heels that were only slightly too small and slipped them on, marveling at how they changed his posture and the way he moved. Next came a delicate necklace, cool against his skin as he fastened it around his neck. Baker spent the next hour experimenting with different outfits, each one bringing a new thrill of discovery. He tried on skirts and blouses, dresses of varying lengths and styles. With each new combination, he felt more at ease, more like himself than he ever had before. As the afternoon wore on, Baker reluctantly changed back into his own clothes. He carefully hung up Emma's things, making sure everything was exactly as he'd found it. But even as he resumed his daily routine, cleaning the house, preparing dinner, waiting for Emma to return home, he couldn't shake the lingering sensation of the dress against his skin, or the image of his transformed self in the mirror. That night, as they lay in bed, Baker found himself unable to sleep. The events of the day played on repeat in his mind, filling him with a mixture of excitement and guilt. Emma stirred beside him, sensing his restlessness. "Everything okay, honey?" she asked, her voice thick with sleep. Baker hesitated, his heart racing. "Emma, I need to tell you something." She propped herself up on one elbow, suddenly more alert. "What is it? You know you can tell me anything." He took a deep breath, steeling himself for her reaction. "Today, while you were at work, I tried on some of your clothes." There was a moment of silence that felt like an eternity. Then, to Baker's surprise, Emma's face softened into a smile. "Oh, Baker, is that what's been bothering you?" He nodded, unable to find words. Emma reached out, taking his hand in hers. "Thank you for telling me. How did it make you feel?" "It felt right," Baker admitted, the words tumbling out in a rush. "I've never felt so comfortable in my own skin. But I'm scared, Emma. I don't know what this means." She squeezed his hand reassuringly. "It means you're discovering a new part of yourself, and I'm here for you every step of the way." Baker felt tears welling up in his eyes, overwhelmed by her acceptance. "You're not upset." "Of course not," Emma said firmly. "I love you, all of you. Whatever this journey looks like, we'll figure it out together." They talked long into the night, Baker sharing his experiences and feelings, Emma listening with unwavering support. As dawn broke, they fell asleep holding each other, a new understanding between them. Over the next few weeks, Baker continued to explore this newfound aspect of himself, always with Emma's encouragement. She helped him shop for his own clothes, guiding him through the often overwhelming world of women's fashion. They spent evenings experimenting with makeup, laughing together as Baker learned the intricacies of eyeliner and mascara. As Baker grew more confident, he began to think of himself differently. The name Ari came to him one night as he was drifting off to sleep, and it felt right in a way he couldn't explain. When he shared it with Emma, she smiled and immediately began using it. Adele, she said, testing the name on her tongue. It suits you. Adele's wardrobe expanded, filling the spare room with an array of dresses, skirts, and blouses. She learned to walk in heels, practiced applying makeup until her hands were steady, and even began growing out her hair. With each passing day, she felt more comfortable in her skin, more aligned with the person she saw in the mirror. However, the outside world still presented challenges. Adele wasn't ready to present as female full-time, and she struggled with the disconnect between her inner self and the face she showed to the world. Emma was her rock during these times, offering unwavering support and reminding her that there was no rush, no right or wrong way to navigate this journey. One sunny Saturday morning, as Adele stood in front of the mirror adjusting a flowery summer dress, Emma came up behind her, wrapping her arms around her waist. "You look beautiful," she murmured, resting her chin on Adele's shoulder. Adele smiled, meeting Emma's eyes in the reflection. "Thank you for everything." Emma squeezed her gently. "How about we go out today? There's that new cafe downtown I've been wanting to try." Adele froze, her heart racing. "You mean, like this?" She gestured to her outfit. "Only if you're comfortable," Emma assured her. "But I think you're ready, and I'll be right there with you." Adele took a deep breath, considering. The thought of being seen in public dressed as her true self was both thrilling and terrifying. But with Emma by her side, she felt like she could face anything. "Okay," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Let's do it." They spent extra time getting ready, Emma helping Adele perfect her makeup and choose the right accessories. As they stood at the front door, Adele's hand on the doorknob, she hesitated. What if people stare? What if they say something? Emma took her hand, intertwining their fingers. "Then we'll handle it together. Remember, you're not doing anything wrong. You're just being you." With a deep breath, Adele opened the door and stepped out into the sunlight. The warmth on her skin felt different somehow, as if the world was welcoming her true self for the first time. They walked hand in hand to the car, Adele growing more confident with each step. The drive to the cafe was a blur of nervous excitement. As Emma parked the car, Adele caught sight of her reflection in the side mirror. The person looking back at her was radiant, eyes bright with anticipation, and a soft smile playing on painted lips. "Ready?" Emma asked, giving her hand a gentle squeeze. Adele nodded, her voice steady as she replied, "Ready." They walked into the cafe together, the bell above the door announcing their arrival. Adele felt eyes on her, but to her surprise, there were no shocked gasps or cruel whispers, just the normal bustle of a busy cafe on a Saturday morning. The barista smiled warmly as they approached the counter. "Good morning. What can I get for you ladies today?" The word ladies sent a thrill through Adele. She ordered her coffee with a confidence she didn't know she possessed, her voice clear and unwavering. As they sat at a small table by the window, sipping their drinks and sharing a pastry, Adele felt a sense of peace wash over her. She was out in the world, being true to herself, and the sky hadn't fallen. Emma reached across the table, taking her hand. "How do you feel?" she asked. Adele looked out at the street, watching people go about their day, then back at her wife's loving face. "I feel free," she said, a smile spreading across her face. "Like I can finally breathe." The rest of the day passed in a whirlwind of new experiences. They went shopping, Adele trying on clothes in fitting rooms for the first time. They walked through the park, enjoying the warm sun and gentle breeze. With each passing hour, Adele grew more comfortable in her skin, her movements becoming more natural, her smile more frequent. As the sun began to set, they made their way home. Adele kicked off her shoes with a contented sigh, sinking onto the couch. Emma joined her, pulling her close. "Thank you for today," Adele murmured, resting her head on Emma's shoulder. "I couldn't have done it without you." Emma pressed a kiss to her forehead. "You're the brave one. I'm just here to support you." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, the events of the day washing over them. Finally, Adele spoke, her voice quiet but firm. I think I want to do this more often. Not all the time, not yet, but I want to be Adele more." Emma nodded, her arms tightening around her partner. "Whatever you want, whatever you need. We'll figure it out together." As the weeks turned into months, Adele continued to explore her identity. She began dressing as herself more frequently at home and gradually ventured out more often. There were challenging days, disapproving looks from strangers, awkward conversations with friends and family, but there were also moments of pure joy and acceptance. Emma remained her steadfast supporter, helping her navigate the complexities of living authentically in a world that didn't always understand. They had long conversations about the future, about what Adele's journey might look like. She didn't feel the need to transition medically, but she did want to live as Adele more and more. 1 year after that first day of trying on Emma's dress, Adele stood in front of the mirror once again. This time, she wore an elegant black dress, her hair styled in soft waves, makeup expertly applied. Emma appeared behind her looking equally stunning in a deep blue gown. "Ready for our anniversary dinner?" Emma asked, smiling at their reflection. Adele turned, taking in the sight of her wife. "More than ready?" she replied, leaning in for a kiss. As they drove to the restaurant, Adele reflected on the journey of the past year. It hadn't been easy, but with every passing day, she felt more like herself. The fear and uncertainty that had once consumed her had given way to a quiet confidence, a certainty in who she was. The maitre d' greeted them warmly, leading them to a secluded table with a view of the city skyline. As they settled in, ordering wine and perusing the menu, Adele felt a surge of gratitude for the woman sitting across from her. "Emma," she said, reaching for her hand across the table. "I don't know if I've ever properly thanked you for everything you've done, for standing by me through all of this." Emma's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "You don't have to thank me, love. Seeing you happy, seeing you become who you truly are, that's all the thanks I need." Adele squeezed her hand, her own eyes growing misty. "I don't know what the future holds, but I know that with you by my side, I can face anything." As they raised their glasses in a toast, Adele felt a sense of peace settle over her. The journey wasn't over. In many ways, it was just beginning. But here, in this moment, she was exactly who she was meant to be. Adele. Wife, partner, and finally, truly herself. The evening passed in a blur of good food, laughter, and shared memories. As they walked hand in hand back to their car, the city lights twinkling around them, Adele felt a sense of possibility stretching out before her. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever joys and sorrows the future might bring, she would face them as her authentic self, with the love of her life by her side. As they drove home, Adele found herself thinking about the many small moments that had led to this point. The first tentative steps in Emma's heels, the thrill of applying lipstick for the first time, the nervous excitement of that first outing to the cafe. Each experience had been a building block, constructing the foundation of her new life. Back at home, as they got ready for bed, Adele caught sight of herself in the mirror. She paused, taking in her reflection. The person looking back at her was so different from the baker of a year ago, yet fundamentally the same. It wasn't just the outer appearance that had changed. There was a light in her eyes, a confidence in her bearing that hadn't been there before. Emma came up behind her, wrapping her arms around Adele's waist and resting her chin on her shoulder, just as she had done so many times before. But this time, instead of reassurance, her eyes held a question. "What are you thinking about?" she asked softly. Adele leaned back into her embrace, a small smile playing on her lips. "I'm thinking about how far we've come, how much has changed and yet how much has stayed the same." Emma nodded, understanding in her eyes. "You've bloomed, love, like a flower finally getting the sunlight it needs." The metaphor struck a chord in Adele. She turned in Emma's arms, facing her fully. "You're my sunlight, you know. Without you, I don't know if I ever would have found the courage to be myself." Emma's eyes shimmered with emotion. "You had that courage all along. I just helped you see it." They stood there for a long moment, holding each other, the weight of the past year and the promise of the future hanging between them. Finally, Adele spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. I think I'm ready to be Adele full-time." The words hung in the air, full of possibility and just a hint of fear. Emma pulled back slightly, searching Adele's face. "Are you sure?" Adele nodded, feeling more certain with each passing second. "I am. It won't be easy. I know that. There will be challenges we haven't even thought of yet. But this is who I am, who I've always been. I'm ready to live that truth every day." Emma's face broke into a radiant smile. "Then we'll face those challenges together, just like we always have." As they fell asleep that night, Adele's mind was filled with plans and possibilities. There would be practical considerations, updating documents, having conversations with friends and family, navigating the workplace. But underlying all of that was a sense of rightness, of finally stepping fully into the person she was always meant to be. The coming months were a whirlwind of change. Adele began the process of legally changing her name, a step that felt both momentous and long overdue. She had nervous but ultimately positive conversations with her extended family, finding support in unexpected places and learning to navigate the occasional difficult reaction. Work presented its own set of challenges. As a stay-at-home parent, Adele didn't have to worry about a workplace transition, but she did have to face the other parents at school pickup and in the neighborhood. Some were immediately accepting, others needed time to adjust, and a few reacted with confusion or even hostility. Through it all, Emma remained her rock, offering unwavering support and often acting as a buffer when things got tough. One particularly memorable moment came at a school event, several months into Adele's full-time transition. She had been nervous about attending, knowing that many parents who hadn't seen her since her transition would be there. As she and Emma walked into the school gymnasium, she felt the weight of curious glances and whispered conversations. Just as Adele was considering making a quick exit, one of the other mothers approached them, a warm smile on her face. "Adele, Emma, it's so good to see you both. Adele, I love your dress. Where did you get it?" The simple act of acceptance, of being treated as just another mom at a school event, nearly brought tears to Adele's eyes. As the evening progressed, more parents came up to chat, some a bit awkward but clearly trying, others as comfortable as they'd always been. By the end of the night, Adele felt a weight lift from her shoulders. She belonged here, just as much as she always had. As the seasons changed, so did Adele. She grew more confident in her presentation, her mannerisms becoming more natural, less practiced. She experimented with different styles, finding a look that felt authentically her, a mix of feminine and practical that suited her life as a stay-at-home parent. Emma, true to her word, was there every step of the way. She celebrated Adele's victories, held her through the tough times, and loved her unconditionally through it all. Their relationship, already strong, deepened in ways neither of them had anticipated. The honesty and vulnerability required by Adele's journey brought them closer, their communication more open and intimate than ever before. On the 1-year anniversary of Adele's decision to live full-time as herself, they decided to have a small celebration. Just a few close friends and family members gathered in their backyard for a barbecue, but the air was filled with love and acceptance. As the afternoon sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the gathering, Emma clinked her glass, calling for everyone's attention. She looked at Adele, her eyes shining with pride and love. "A year ago," she began, her voice carrying across the suddenly quiet yard, "my spouse took the bravest step I've ever witnessed. Adele," she turned to face her directly, "watching you become who you truly are has been the greatest privilege of my life. Your courage, your authenticity, your unwavering kindness, even in the face of adversity, you inspire me every day." Adele felt tears welling up in her eyes as Emma continued. "To those of you here today, thank you. Thank you for your love, your support, and for celebrating Adele for who she is. And to those who couldn't accept this change, who aren't here today, I hope that one day you'll see the beautiful, authentic person we all see." Emma raised her glass, the others following suit. "To Adele, may your light continue to shine brightly, illuminating the path for others and bringing joy to all who know you." As their friends and family echoed the toast, Adele felt a wave of emotion wash over her. She looked around at the smiling faces, at the life she had built, at the woman she loved who had stood by her through it all. In that moment, she knew with absolute certainty that she was exactly where she was meant to be. Later that night, as she and Emma cleaned up the last of the party decorations, Adele paused, leaning on her broom. "Do you ever wonder," she asked softly, "what would have happened if I hadn't tried on your dress that day? If I had just ignored those feelings?" Emma set down the trash bag she was holding and came to stand beside her wife. "Sometimes," she admitted. "But then I look at you, at how happy and comfortable you are now, and I'm just grateful that you found the courage to be yourself." Adele nodded, leaning into Emma's embrace. "I'm grateful too, for you, for this life we've built, for the chance to be truly, authentically me." Thanks for watching! Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.